Hello students, today we are going to start chapter 9, Reproduction in Animals. In your earlier class, you have learned about the process of reproduction in plants. Reproduction is essential for the continuation of a species. It's very important as it ensures the continuation of similar kinds of individuals generation after generation. Just as plants, in animals also, there are two modes of reproduction: sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. First, we can see what is sexual reproduction. In class 7, you have learned that plants that reproduce sexually have male and female reproductive parts. In animals also, males and females have different reproductive parts or organs. Like plants, the reproductive parts in animals also produce gametes that fuse to form a zygote. It is the zygote which develops into a new individual. This type of reproduction, beginning from the fusion of male and female gametes, is called sexual reproduction. Let us find out the reproductive parts in humans and study the process of reproduction in them. First, we can study the male reproductive organs. The male reproductive organs include a pair of testes, two sperm ducts, and a penis. The testes produce the male gametes called sperms. Millions of sperms are produced by the testes. So, these sperms, they are very small in size. Though they are very small in size, each has a head, a middle piece, and a tail. Each sperm is a single cell with all the usual cell components. Now, the female reproductive organs. The female reproductive organs are a pair of ovaries, oviducts or fallopian tubes, and the uterus, as it is shown in the figure. The female gametes are called ova or eggs. In human beings, a single matured egg is released into the oviduct by one of the ovaries every month. So, ova or eggs, they are the female gametes, and a single matured egg is released into the oviduct by one of the ovaries every month. And the development of the baby, that takes place in the uterus. Like the sperm, egg is also a single cell. So, or ovum. See, this is the image of human ovum. So, see the nucleus, it is marked there. So, sperm, we have seen that it's a single cell. Same way, the egg or ovum is also a single cell. The first step in the process of reproduction is the fusion of a sperm and ovum. Then the fusion of the egg and the sperm, it is called as fertilization. During fertilization, the nuclei of the sperm and the egg fuse to form a single nucleus. This about fertilization you have already learned in class 7 while studying about the reproduction in plants. So what is fertilization? We have seen that the fusion of the male gamete and the female gamete, it is called as fertilization. So that means here the fusion of the egg and the sperm, it is called fertilization. And during the process of fertilization, the nuclei of the sperm and the egg, they fuse to form a single nucleus. And this results in the process of the formation of a zygote, which is a fertilized egg. Now, we have learned that the process of Fertilization is the meeting of the egg cell from the mother and a sperm cell from the father. So, the new individual, it inherits some characteristics from the mother and some from the father. So, see here, the fertilization process, here the sperms and the ovum. So, sperms, they possess the tail. You know what is the use of the tail in a sperm? It helps in locomotion or the movement of the sperm. And here is the image of the zygote. So how a zygote is formed, already I told you. When a male gamete and a female gamete, they fuse together, it results in the formation of zygote. And the zygote, it is a fertilized egg. Okay, now fertilization is of two types: internal fertilization and external fertilization. So what is meant by internal fertilization and what is meant by external fertilization? The fertilization that takes place inside the female body is called internal fertilization. And you know, the internal fertilization occurs in many animals, including humans, then cows, dogs, and hens. The fertilization in which the fusion of a male and a female gamete takes place outside the body of the female is called external fertilization. So we have seen that internal fertilization takes place inside the body of the female, and external fertilization means the fertilization that takes place outside the body of the female. And this external fertilization is very common in aquatic animals such as fish, starfish, etc. And in frogs also, which one? This external fertilization. During a spring or rainy season, frogs and toads, they move to ponds and slow flowing streams. And when the male and female come together in water, the female lays hundreds of eggs. Then after that, a layer of jelly holds the eggs together and provides protection to the eggs. That means a female, they lays eggs. That is hundreds of eggs. And after this, eggs are protected by a jelly structure. And as the eggs are laid, the male deposits sperms over the eggs. The sperms will be deposited by the male, and each sperm, it swims randomly in water with the help of its long tail. I already told you, sperm, they are having a long tail. This tail helps the movement of the sperm or help in locomotion. And the sperm come in contact with the eggs. And as a result of that, the fertilization takes place. So now we can see how an embryo develops, the development of the embryo. So the fertilization results in the formation of zygote, which begins to develop into an embryo. The zygote divides repeatedly to give rise to a ball of cells. Then the cells then begin to form groups that develop into different tissues and organs of the body. And this developing structure is called an embryo. So the picture it is shown, the developing embryo. That's picture, that is C. The embryo gets embedded in the wall of the uterus for further development. Then in C picture is very clearly shown that the embedding of the embryo in the uterus wall. And the first picture, the zygote formation and development of an embryo from the zygote. Then second one, it is the ball cells. So because already I told you, the zygote divides repeatedly to give rise to a ball of cells that is shown in picture B. Then these cells, it begin to form groups that develop into different tissues and also organs of the body. And this developing structure, it is called by the name embryo. Then this embryo, it gets embedded in the wall of the uterus for its further development. Is that clear? Okay. Now, the development of embryo continues in the uterus. And in that, body parts such as hands, legs, head, eyes, ears, etc. it will be developed gradually. And the stage of the embryo in which all the body parts can be identified is called as the fetus. And when the fetus develops completely, the mother gives birth to the baby. And another example of internal fertilization is a fertilization that takes place in hens. Hence also, which fertilization takes place? It's the internal fertilization. And in hens, soon after fertilization, the zygote divides repeatedly and travels down the oviduct. As it travels down, many protective layers are formed around it. So the hard shell that you see in a hen's egg, it is one of such protective layer. So you can see the egg of a hen. So it is hard. So this is a protective layer which is formed. And after the hard shell is formed around the developing embryo, the hen finally lays the egg. And the embryo takes about 3 weeks to develop into a chick. So this is how a chick is developed from the egg. Now, you must have heard that there are some animals that give birth to their young ones, and some they lay eggs. So we are very familiar with that, isn't it? We know many animals that is lay eggs, and also some are there, they give birth to the young ones, like that human beings, or goat, dog, then cow. These animals, they give birth to their young ones. But birds, that is for example hen, crow, then parrot, etc. they lay eggs. That is, we have learned that some animals give birth to young ones, while some animals, they lay eggs which later develop into young ones. So the animals which give birth to young ones, they are called viviparous animals, and those animals which lay eggs, they are called as oviparous animals. So what are viviparous? The animals that give birth to the young ones are viviparous, and that lay eggs, they are called oviparous. So examples of viviparous, already I gave you example. Human beings are viviparous, then dog, cow, cat, etc. And in oviparous, hen, parrot, crow, lizard, etc. they are examples of oviparous animals. Now, the new individuals which are born or hatched from the eggs continue to grow till they become adults. In some animals, the young ones may look very different from the adults. In your previous class, you have learned the life cycle of the silkworm. That is, from egg, the larva or the caterpillar, then from that to the pupa, then to the adult. So another example for that, it is frog. See the different stages of frog starting from the egg to the adult stage. We find that there are 3 distinct stages. See that in the picture. First one, it's the egg, then the tadpole or the larva stage, and the adult stage. Here see in the picture, don't confuse as there are 4 pictures given. So first X, second B and C is the tadpole stage only. One is the early tadpole and second one is the later tadpole stage. And then the adult frog. Similarly, the caterpillar or the pupa of silkworms looks very different from the adult moth that you have already learned. The features that are present in the adult are not found in these young ones. And this transformation of the larva into an adult through drastic changes is called metamorphosis. So what is metamorphosis? What's the definition of metamorphosis? The transformation of the larva into an adult through drastic changes is called metamorphosis. Is that clear? Now, the second mode of reproduction, that is asexual reproduction. So far we have learned about reproduction in some familiar animals. But what about the small animals like hydra and microscopic organisms like amoeba? See here, what you see is the reproduction in hydra. In each hydra, there may be one or more bulges. You can see in the picture, the bulges which are seen in the hydra. These bulges are developing new individuals and they are called buds. So the bulges which are found in this hydra, they are called buds. And what are these? They are the new developing individuals. So you must have studied the buds that is formed in yeast. Same way, in hydra also, the new individuals develop as outgrowths from a single parent. And this type of reproduction in which only a single parent is involved is called asexual reproduction. So in sexual reproduction we have seen that male and female gamete, they fuse together. But here what is there? Only a single parent is involved. So that is asexual reproduction. So since new individuals develop from the buds in hydra, this type of asexual reproduction is called budding. So what is the type of reproduction which is found in hydra? It is asexual reproduction and that is called as budding. So why it is called budding? Because the new individuals are formed as buds. Now we can see another method of asexual reproduction that is seen in the microscopic organism, that is amoeba. See that. Amoeba, it is a single-celled organism. It begins the process of reproduction by the division of its nucleus into 2 nuclei. So you can see in the picture, the first, the amoeba, the parent amoeba, then the nucleus gets divided into 2. And this is followed by division of its body into 2, each part receiving a nucleus. So the nucleus which is divided, then when the body gets divided, and each body parts will get a separate nucleus. Finally, 2 amoebae are produced from one parent amoeba. And this type of asexual reproduction in which an animal reproduces by dividing into 2 individuals, it is called binary fission. So example for binary fission, that's amoeba. So apart from these 2 types of asexual reproduction, that is budding and binary fission, there are other methods by which a single parent reproduces young ones. That means there are other types of asexual reproduction also. About that you will study in your higher classes. So that's all about the reproduction in animals. I hope the topic is clear to you. Read the chapter well and try to find out the answers of exercise questions. Okay, thank you.